Hello, welcome. Happy Friday, or whenever you're watching this, to another stream back behind the scenes of a board game publisher. I am Peter Vaughan of Cardboard Alchemy. I've got Rosie, our communications manager, also in the chat.
Hello.
Help everybody out. And we're here just to, it's game on. It's the weekend. We're talking about games. Let's see what we're talking about. We have a couple different topics for today, because today is the last time. We're going to play Letter Tycoon later, but before I get ahead of myself, let's see what we're going to talk about. We're going to have a mailbag topic where I'm going to go through letters, actual letters written to Cardboard Alchemy. It's pretty fun. A lot of people writing in for our promotion to get a free shop card for Flamecraft. Then we've got a crowdfunding shout out. I have two campaigns that I want to talk about. We have a topic called Planes, Trains, and Games. You'll find out what that one's about. We have our last round of Letter Tycoon that we're going to do on this stream, and we're going to give away copies of Letter Tycoon, so that's going to be fun. And then finally, we'll have Q&A, so you can ask anything you want to know about the games we make, which could be Flamecraft or Critter Kitchen or Andromeda's Edge. Ask about Mission Catastrophe, our very first game, or anything you want to talk about, what games you're playing, something like that. We'll get into it. Design, development, crowdfunding, any topic is fine. In the game realm, Rosie's also got some fun things to talk about as far as Larcana goes, so that'll be fun. Okay, so let's do mailbag first. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is fun because we were building up letters. Now I feel very bad on the letter front because I've gotten so many good letters. Okay. Well, we've gotten tons of mail at the office, which was the goal, but I've been we've been heads down busy on Andromeda's Edge and Critter Kitchen trying to get those games done that I haven't had the proper amount of time to write back. And there's people saying like, oh no, did you get my letter? Has it been lost? I just want to tell everybody, your letter's not lost. We're definitely going to get to everybody's letter. Forgive me. It's just a lot of things happening at once right now. But while I have not promised fast replies, I'm going to consistently get out replies. And what we also do is we like to read some letters on the air. And if we read your letter on the air, I'll stick something special in yours. But everyone is going to win a copy of Stuff the Magic Dragon, which is our Flamecraft card, if you write a letter in. You can also get it from our shop. You don't have to write a letter. You can just get it faster if you go to our shop. But it's more fun sometimes to write a letter, and I promise you'll get something back. So I want to read some of those because there's been a lot of fun ones. And when I read these, there is nothing that guarantees a read on the air kind of a thing. It's more like just I inspired. It could be like no art. It could be no story, or it could be like an involved story or a funny card or a piece of drawing, whatever it is. So I'm going to start with this one. And I also apologize if I read anyone's name and you meant to keep your name private and everything else like that. But I'm just going to read these out loud. Hopefully you're okay with that because you wrote in. This one, I'm reading this one for Rosie because I think it's her kind of theme. Dear Cardboard Alchemy, I recently came across your letter writing promo videos, and while getting back a promo shop is certainly a cool bonus, I was most excited to be able to communicate how much creating Flamecraft means to me. My new spouse is the person who got me into board games when we started dating, but a lot of the more classic and popular games have intimidated me. I'm a cozy gamer at heart, and a lot of the games I love aren't taken as seriously. But with Flamecraft, I've seen so many people from all different play styles praising the game. It feels like it's a huge step in getting recognition for cozy games, which I thought is an awesome sentence. So truly, thank you for your work on creating such a beautiful and endearing game and for creating space in board gaming circles for cozy gaming. So huzzah for that.
Did I write that?
It's signed Miranda, so I guess not, but she is with you on this. 100%.
Hey, I love it.
Good letter. All right, I have another one I wanted to read because it's from Singapore. This is one of the people who was like, did you get the letter? Because, did it get lost from Singapore? And it did not. So I want to read it. Dear Cardboard Alchemy, thank you for making Flamecraft. My friends and I really like it and enjoy playing it a lot. I am writing from Singapore. Not sure if this would be eligible for the new promo shop. It is worldwide. You can find us here at Cardboard Alchemy's headquarters. I've included my mailing address inside this card. Just flip it open. Thanks again. All the best for making new great games. Now, what's funny about this one is, of course, Flamecraft, our artist Sandara, is from Singapore, so I just felt like I had to read. This is our first letter from Singapore, so this is exciting. And I'm also thinking about going to Singapore, so that's kind of exciting also. More about that in the next segment. But for now, I just wanted to read this awesome letter from Singapore. All right, let's do another one. I have one. This is another person who's been asking if we got the letter. And so if Owen is out there, this is a letter from Owen. It's an awesome handwritten letter, and we're excited to get it. Apologies for my delay, Owen, but I am so thankful that you wrote in. And here's what it says. Dear Flamecraft makers, my dad and I love the game. We would love the plush shop card. The real plush dragons are super cute too. Is there a way to, and this one cracks me up, Owen, is there a way to make the game more interactive between the players? So I like how Owen's going to be a designer someday and is going to solve this. And I will tell you, Owen, there is a way that you can get a more interactive game. And that is, you can look at our next game, Critter Kitchen, which is a little bit more intense between the players. But of course, Flamecraft has that kind of light interaction. But there's lots of different games out there. So if you like the light interaction, Flamecraft is the way to go. And then Owen signed it, and it was such a great letter. So thank you, Owen, for playing games and for writing in. Now let's see what else we've got here. Hello, Cardboard Alchemy team. Greetings from Australia and a belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Now you can see how far behind I am. I've been a longtime fan of Sandara. I love dragons, and I really enjoy board games. Super excited when Flamecraft was announced. It is such a cute, wholesome game. I love it. I've painted up my little dragons to match the starters with a slight sparkly color shift paint on top. The pictures are enclosed. I'm going to show those to you. Looking forward to when the second set of minis is shipped out. Even though I haven't been able to catch any live streams, I think your engagement with the community is awesome. Thank you for saying that. I very much appreciate the chance for a promo and for more content for the game. A big thank you again for the creation of Flamecraft. And there's a little dragon drawn there too. But let me show you the pictures. There's pictures of the dragons that were painted. Yeah. Let's see if this is going to work out here. They're really fun. Love the colors. I if you see our Facebook group, our Flamecraft Facebook group, there are tons of pictures of painted minis. It's really inspiring, actually, because I don't paint minis myself, but I love looking at everyone else's creations. So thank you, thank you everybody for painting minis and sharing your creations. Now this one, not to say that there's a way to get into one of these streams to get read, but when you do a heart that says "We love Cardboard Alchemy," I mean, it's a shot. I just wanted to write a little note to say thank you for the magic that are your games. A friend introduced me to Flamecraft at game night. Here's to friends that introduce games at game night. And my game table hasn't been the same since. No, really. Once I got my copy, I enjoyed playing with my family and friends, as well as sometimes just pulling out the cards and looking at the fun art by Sandara. I really look forward to playing Critter Kitchen when the Kickstarter is all through. And it is now, and we're making it so it's faster than you would think. They are both such beautiful and unique games. I also just have to say the community that you've worked to foster on Facebook and Discord is so wholesome and kind, which is really a breath of fresh air on the internet these days. Thanks again for all your hard work. I'm selfishly looking forward to adding a little gem of a card to the game. If you're still doing that, and we are, if not, I'm still so happy to have an address to send a thanks to. You all are so great. That's very nice. I mean, I have to tell everybody that when we're in the thick of the Andromeda, we're about to do an Andromeda's Edge update, which is going to go over everything. And we're in the diciest time, just trying to like make our final deadlines and everything else like that. And it's just so, it's intense. This is a big game. And to get letters that just kind of push you forward and say like, keep going, doing great, love the games. It's made by, it's awesome. So it really helps. Now this one was funny because it's a Christmas card. It's a Mandalorian Christmas card, and it says, home, holidays, and happiness. This is the way. Now I know we're past the holidays, but I had to. This is a fun card, so. I received a copy of Flamecraft where I normally live in New Zealand. So we get letters from all over, but this is fun. But mailing is quite expensive. And so I'm sending you a card while I'm visiting my family in Arizona. I would love a promo shop. I can get it the next time I'm in town, which is fun. I just wanted to say I really like Flamecraft. The art is gorgeous and cute. And as someone who loves dragons, it's a wonderful game. Not too hard, but with enough strategy to make things interesting. The names are clever and make me smile. Thank you for designing this game. I also like the little stuffed animals, and I have the gold one on my shelf as company while I work from home. Hope you had a great holiday break, and I'm looking forward to all that 2024 will bring. And we are too. So thank you very much for doing that. Let's see. I'll do another one. Let's see. I got another one here. This one is fun because it's another one from Australia, and it's actually included a shop idea. That's really fun. It's called the Fancy Finishing School, and if anyone wants to try it out and see how it works, you pay 135 coin to draw 1, 2, 3 fancies. It's kind of fun. I love the ideas. Writing from Australia, for your call out to letters to receive the promo shop. I only have the base game currently, so a promo shop is very exciting. As someone who missed the Kickstarter but fell in love with the game when I found it, I made sure to back the recent Critter Kitchen, which, by the way, if anyone has missed Critter Kitchen, it's not gone. There's a late pledge to get it. For the first time, it's the first time I've ever backed a Kickstarter. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to read this letter, because that's awesome, right? This is making games come true, and I love finding people who are help, who want to help do that. And I remember the first time I backed one. For my birthday last year, I asked my kids for some Mod Podge so I could turn the Flamecraft cardboard tokens into more satisfying enamel-feeling clicky tokens. That sounds fun. It was my first foray into enhancing my board game components, and it was very satisfying. I haven't had the courage to order and paint the Dragon Minis, but I did try my hand at painting a few other game pieces on other games to practice. This craftiness is very zen and a reminder that I need more of it in my life. As a hobby, I enjoy designing board games, and I have even made up components for a few games for personal use. I've also come up with a variety of fan expansion shops for Flamecraft, which is great fun, although I cannot hope to replicate Sandara's art. You're on your way. She's, you got to start somewhere. I've included a copy of one of my shops here, the Fancy Finishing School, for your interest and amusement. The care and attention that goes in your games is above and beyond. Thanks for the hard work. See, that's so awesome. And I wish you well in all your designing games, because that is where it all gets started. I myself wanted to see more games get made, and that's what we're doing here. So that was the letter topic. I want to get some letters read, and thank you for everyone who's writing in letters. Now, if anyone else wants to do that, just keep in mind, we are a little bit behind and delayed on letters, but we're almost at 300 letters received, so it's pretty wild. It's been a lot of fun to do that. A lot of fun. Okay, so our next topic was planes, trains, and games, right? Now, what does that mean? So, well, one of the reasons why we're going to end Letter Tycoon on this week is because March is a really busy time, because I'm going to GAMA, which is a trade show. It's an industry trade show in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm going to be there talking with distributors and content creators. I'm going to talk with our partner, Lucky Duck. I'm going to have meetings with manufacturers. It's going to be a lot of connecting to the industry. And then after that, Rosie's going to have a talk at AirCon, which is mid-March in Harrogate. I hope I got that right. The UK.
It is Harrogate. It's Harrogate, Leeds. It's a very small, compared to Kentucky, I imagine.
I don't know, because I think this is the first year that GAMA's moved to Louisville, Kentucky, so I don't know what to expect. I actually haven't been. I've driven through Kentucky, so I don't actually know how big or not big that is compared to Los Angeles. But Hungry Gamer says, what about DonCon 3? We haven't talked about the date for DonCon. We're talking about March. I don't know that DonCon 3 is happening in March, but the last thing I'm doing in March, and it's not entirely confirmed, but I really think it hopefully will be, is I'm planning to go to China to go see how Andromeda's Edge is made. Like the games are going to be on the conveyor belts, and the minis are getting finished, and I'm really hoping to take awesome pictures and video of that for everybody to see. And so I have planned a trip to China. Now, the reason why I can't say that it's a 100% official is because I'm still getting approved by the embassy to go there. It's not entirely a clear thing that I get to go. But assuming that all works out, my plan is to go to China and then pop over to Singapore at the end of that trip to say hello to Sandara. That would be fun. See how that goes. I'm still working that all out. But it's going to be a busy March. So I feel like these chats will still happen, but it might be all Rosie and I tag teaming who's going to be on our live streams. So, and lots of things to share. What was that?
We could be from conventions at one point.
Right. I could go live from China, but I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if they'll let me do that. We'll see. Anyway, so that's the Planes, Trains, and Games segment. I mentioned this in the last week. We are going to do a newsletter soon where we're going to have a prize if you name the convention that you're most looking forward to. So think about where you want to go to a game convention, because we're going to ask you that for our newsletter. And then Don says, "Don't tell everybody about DonCon." That I will now break that rule and say, what's kind of fun about what they just said is that sometimes when you don't have a con near you and you think, I can't travel to all these places, you can make your own. And that is what Don and Will, my friends, made a con that they've labeled DonCon, and they make official badges for it. I've been as a member of like a publishing member, a publisher, going to that. I got a official lanyard at the con. It was pretty fun. So, if you can't get across the country to a con, you can always get your friends over and just call it a convention weekend. Of course, Axel is shouting out one of our favorite cons, which is Potion Con, which we did last year as our first online convention for Cardboard Alchemy so that everybody around the world could go. So, but that was the con segment. We're going to jump into playing Letter Tycoon because we are on our final round and we have got prizes to give away. So we're going to play, what we're going to do in Letter Tycoon, and let me bring up the slide for Letter Tycoon, is, so Letter Tycoon is a game designed by Brad Brooks, the co-founder of Cardboard Alchemy. It was published by me. We teamed up with Breaking Games at the time to bring Brad's word game to print, and now the travel edition is here. It's finally here. There's a smaller version of Letter Tycoon that's being sold by Breaking Games right now. Here, I'll show this box. This is the travel edition. We're celebrating that by playing Letter Tycoon on the stream, and we have an orange team that plays on the stream and a green team that is our away team. But today, we're going to play both turns right now on the stream because we're going to give away prizes, and we'll leave everybody with one more word to make if you want to have fun in the afterwards. So let's go to the scores for the orange and the green team right now. Let's see what we got. All right. So the scores currently are 31-33. It seems like a super close game. The way that you play this game is that you play to a certain score, a patent score. For example, in 2 players, you're playing to someone gets to 45. In a 5-player game, I think you're playing to 21 because there's a lot more people buying up the alphabet. So in a 2-player game, you pretty much buy the whole alphabet between the 2 people. And in the 5-player game, it's gone pretty quick. So you can get a different vibe for each way you want to play. But we're going to call it here because of the March we just mentioned. It's very busy. So we're going to see how we do. Now, orange, what was the last word they formed? Let's see. I have that. Orange made the word quilts, which was very fun because they used a virtual S because we had a power to do that. And that did not pay the green team by using the virtual letter. And also we doubled it because of the Q. So that all in told paid out pretty well. $8 in 2 stock and gave the green team nothing. So that was last week's word. And the green team, our away team, we got lots of suggestions on our YouTube channel, and we heard of, whoops, that's not the right word. That was last week's word. We've got the word gentry. Actually, what's interesting about this is that the green team can form 2 words on their turn because they bought the V patent, which gives them a power to make 2 words. And this was suggested by Martin, and he also suggested another word that used the J. And I didn't use that word because here's what happened. That word paid out green as many dollars as it gave orange, and it took the J out of the community. And instead, what I decided was the best play would be to leave that J to clog up orange's last turn. And I'm playing on both sides, so I'm just trying to make it fun and competitive. And I was thinking this is one way you might towards the end of Letter Tycoon, you got to think about letters that you're trying to buy and letters you want to leave for the other team to have to deal with. So I just chose to spell Gentry, which earned orange $4 in a stock. It did pay out, no, it earned green $4 in a stock, and it paid out orange only $1 for the T. That's, I thought, the best we could do. And then with that, I basically was looking at we should buy the R or the N for orange's last turn. Hopefully, orange will be forced to use one of those letters. So I chose to buy the R. Comes up plenty in the deck, so that's what we did. And if you look at the patents that have been bought, the ones that are brighter are the letters that are left. So the way that Letter Tycoon would finish, if we were trying to finish out a whole game right now, is that between orange and green, whoever bought up to about $45 of actual patents. So for example, orange is 14 away. So you could do that with just the L, the M, and the N to get you there. Or green could do it with only 12 away, could buy the N and the H, and it'd be over. So at the end, then you total up all your coins, stock, and right now orange does have the lead because they've got 31, but they've got 12 coins in the bank and 11 stock. So actually, they're actually sitting around 50, was that 54? 31, and so 40, 43, and then 54, yes. And then green is at 33 points with 3 coins in the bank, so 36, and 3 stocks, so 39. So it's I think orange is slipping away here, but we're going to play both turns, and we're going to see what happens with the final turns. So let's go to orange's turn. Orange had the letters SEW, decided to keep those letters, and this is what I was talking about. The green left the J lying around to make it so that orange would have to deal with that. And then the letters that orange gets dealt in their hand is, and get ready to make some words, you're going to get dealt a T, a D, another S, and an L. Now that's a lot of consonants. So orange just got stuck with some. We've got to figure out a word using any of the 7 letters in our hand or the community letters. And if we're trying not to give green any points, obviously using the E or the O or the S's will give green points as well. And that's where we are right now. And someone's asking how scoring works. I'm going to add up all the scores at the end if that wasn't clear from my last description of how to play. But what you do every turn is you make a word, and then you score points for that word. And at the end of the game, it's the most patents, letters that you own, and coins that you have lying around, and stock. So as you see the scoring card here, it says that you actually make money and stock if you spell a particularly long word. So we've got a suggestion for listed. So let's move some cards around. So that's using the community letter. That's actually getting one of these S's in here and using an E. So that would be listed. So what listed would do, if we formed listed, it would be it's a 6-letter word. So you look over here, that's $4 in a stock, and it would also give green $1 for the S and the E because they own those 2 letters. So it would be $4 in stock, and it would give green $2. So it would be a net 3 points to make listed. And since this is the final turn of the game, it doesn't really matter what we would buy at that point, because if you, for example, if you bought the L, that's $4, so you lose 4 points, but you gain the L, which is worth 4 points. So it's you don't have to worry about it. You would always buy a letter as your last move because the last team to form a word might use that letter, so you still want to buy a letter even until the end. That's just one word. Let's see what else we got. We've got, solidist. That's a good word. Let's put that on the board. So let's see, solid. All right, solidest. Of course,
I'm learning new words because I did not know that something could be the solidest.
The solidest. It's the most solid thing.
That's what I would say. I would say the most solid. That's what I would say.
It's the solidest. Now that is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. And so what that would mean is so 7 letters pays out 6 in a stock. If you go above 7, you just get an extra stock. So we would get $6 and 2 stock. So a total of 8 points. and we would give $1 for the S, the O, the E, and the S. So we would get $8. We would hand away $4. So it would be a net of 4 points. It's pretty good. We could form
We've got
solidus. We can
wilted.
call it a day. What was that?
Wilted.
Wilted. Let's try that out. Let's try wilted. Using the, the wood fact. Let's see. Wilted. Where's my T? Now we also have a phantom S that we can throw in if we ever get, wilteds doesn't really work, but I'm just pointing that out. We do have a phantom S. Wilted pays out $4 on a stock and gives away $1. So actually, there you go. That's that's a $5 gain right there because we're not using the letters owned by green. So that is a solid play. We also got someone suggesting wildest. So we can form that one just to see that one too. Wildest.
But we want to avoid using,
Yeah, this pays out $2. Now this one actually is funny. It's the same thing because if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it pays $6 in a stock, which is a 7-point gain, and it pays out $2, so it's a 5-point gain. So this is actually the same feeling as the last one. Now, one of the things about this one is that, we already own the T and they already own, green owns the S and the E, and we already own the D and we already own the I. So this would only allow us to buy the L and the W, but that's fine. We could do that. What does everybody like? What's the, Rosie, you might have to be the tiebreaker. Do you like wildest? Do you like wilted?
I want to give the least points to the other team, who are us, but I want to give the least points to them.
Well, so what we just made, wildest and wilted basically give out, it's the same gain of 5 points-ish. So you can form either one.
Interesting.
Okay.
Someone said wild in that case, but that would still be the same, I think. Wilds.
Now we could form wilds with a phantom S, and that literally pays green nothing. Now that is it's a 5-letter word, so it's $3. So unfortunately, that's one of the problems with that is that it's only $3. So it's a $3 gain. It's not as good as making one of these long. Even though this pays someone else. This is what's really fun too about a multiplayer game is that, of course, while you're at the table, if you're playing 4-player, you're paying. There's no way to dodge paying people, right? So you're trying to make sure you get the letter you want to buy and try not to worry too much about it. But of course, we're in the final turn here, so we'd be like trying not use their letters if possible, right?
Yeah.
Wildest. Do we want to do that one? Do we want to do wilted?
What do people think? Anyone got any votes? I saw wilted get some votes earlier on.
Yeah, we could go with that. It's a fun word.
They don't have the E, Axel says.
They do have the E. That was one of the things that green bought real early, is bought that E.
Oh.
Yeah. So I can go back to that screen. I can go back to that screen. You can see it's a little hard to read, but at the bottom they have the E, the V, the S, the K, the O, and the R.
Jowliest. Is that a word?
Jowliest. Now that uses up the J, which is that was that letter I tried to leave in there to be hard to use. That's a big word. Did we run out of E's with jowliest?
I think they're spelling it Jowli.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know if that's the correct spelling. I haven't got my Oxford Dictionary next to me.
Yeah, there's a challenge rule, of course, if green only wanted to challenge jowl, but that sounds like a word. I guess if you have the most jowls, you're the jowliest. I don't know. This is why I'm not the best at this game. I still love this game, but I would not think of jowliest as a word.
Wiki, they're trusting Wiki.
This one pays out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it pays out $8, but gives away 3. So it's about the same as any of the other words. It does get the J off the board, which I don't think is a great idea because I think sticking them with the J or the green, that's what I would do, is leave the J.
And leave the J. Interesting.
But I'm fine with whatever the community would like to do. This is your game. We're running it.
It's a superlative form of jowly. Most jowly.
It's the most jowly.
I mean, I never want to be described as most jowly. But now I know it's a word. That's fab.
It's the jowliest. The fun, the bonus contest we should do at the end is use every word that we've made along the last couple of weeks in a sentence.
Shall I make like a social media post with just those words, and people will just be like, "What is this? What are you talking about?"
Well, on the spirit of that one, maybe we want to use jowliest because it's pretty funny.
Yeah, the jowliest quilts of all of Carbon Alchemy.
How many points was listed? Let's go to listed and see what we had. Listed is everyone's got one of these scorecards when you play, and it says over here that a 6-letter word is $4 in a stock, but it pays out $2 to the green team, so it's actually your net. It's only 4 points there. It's a good word though.
I think we're gonna go with jowliest because
it's a pretty fun word, right?
It's a pretty fun word, and that's how I pick words to say or write.
I mean, seriously. Okay, so I'm gonna have to write some things down for the green team's final score. So jowliest pays out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So it pays out $6 and 2 stock for orange, and it also gives green $1, 2, $3. So before I move on, what that means, let's go to the score for a second. That means that orange currently has 31. They're going to be at 37, and 2 more stock puts them at 13 stock. And coins in the bank is 12, but we'll see if green gives them any more. And green is going to 3 extra coins in the bank. So let's go back to the green team now. Now we're all going to play as the green team. So forget that orange team. Now we're going to play as the green team. Green team. Now there was O, I, and J on the board, but orange just used the J and the O and the I. So used them all up. So we get a new board. Ding, ding, ding. And instead our board is H, N, and D. Hoping for some vowels. We have Los Angeles. We have LA to start. And we get dealt the R. There's a vowel. O, S, P, and an E. So now, once again, we need everybody to help make a word, try to make the best word we can for the green team. Now, the green team has the power to make 2 words. So if you can think of 2 words, that's great. Keep in mind, as you're playing the green team, that orange owns the A and the D. And that's the only letters that orange has out of this whole thing. Oh, you know what I forgot? Out of jowliest, we forgot to buy something. So as orange, let's say we bought the L. So let's just say we bought the L. So actually that gives 1 more letter to watch out for. So green team's got to work with this. What do we got? What are we going to do?
It looks like it's spelling like some terrible surgery. Like laparoscopy.
Snap holder.
Hero's pad.
By the way, when the people who said orange didn't buy a letter, you're correct, and we just corrected it, so now it's L. So we decided to get L. What are we on? Sharpen. I just heard sharpen, and then let's see. Now, we could also form 2 words as the green team, so we didn't leave ourselves much to do if we do the sharpen. Well, I mean, sharpen and old, but literally L and D are in Orange's patent office, so we would actually be giving away more money to spell the word old. So that would be no good. That is something you don't want to do, is make less than the other person.
So you're better with rash and pen.
Rash and pen. Let's look at that. Okay.
It's right there.
Rash. Rash and then open, because we own the O ourselves. Right? Green team has so these 2 would pay out. Now keep in mind that green also has the K power, which means if you only use 1 vowel, you get double. So Rash qualifies. So here what would happen is this would be $2, but it would turn into $4. And then open would be $2. So it would be a total of $6. And we would only be paying out orange for the A. So we would actually make $6. Orange would only get $1. So that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That could be the way to go.
Esther, and we're not using the D and the L. Splendor's there if you want to. Splendor.
If we want to talk about games, we could go with Splendor. That's not the letter I need. There you go. If we want to just make this a game stream, we'll just, with unfortunately you can't form 2-letter words in Letter Tycoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which would be $6 and 2 stock, and it would pay out the D and the L. So it'd be actually a better word for us, right? Because we said we were going to make a $5 profit, but this would actually be a $6 profit. So why don't we do that? Because it's ending on a game, I think is pretty good, right? So cool. What that does is it makes $6 and 2 stock for green, and green had it had 33. We're also gonna buy a patent out of that. Let's go back to that for a second. We would buy the N, right? So let's buy the N in a second. Not that there would be any reason to buy on the final turn. I'm just saying. I'm just like thinking that through. So if we go back to the score, so green would gain 33, would get $6. So let's make that 39. 2 more stock. Stock would be 5, and orange would get 2 more bucks. Right? That was $2 given away in Splendor. So orange would end up with a score, I believe, of $64 total dollars, and green, I believe, ends up with 39 plus stock is up to 5, so 44, and coins left over are 246 plus we have 49 points. So we played against ourselves. I think orange won, but we were all playing. And so what we're going to do on this stream is we're going to pick winners. If you threw in words to help us have fun here on the stream, we're going to pick a winner from anybody who shouted out a word during our streams for the orange team. We're going to pick winners from people who shouted out words on YouTube for the green team. And I have one more way to win another copy, which is I have a final fun word to make. If you want to go out of this episode and still make words, here is another one. This is my finale one. We have the LA that we started with on the last one, but I came up with another way we got dealt. This is by pure accident. We got dealt a C and an H and an E and an M and a Y. But that is not your challenge. Your challenge is not to form alchemy. And also, by the way, our community letters are WIN because it's a win-win. What I'm going to say is if you could form another set of words, use any of the powers in the game. You could form words with bookending them in vowels. You could form with only one vowel. You could make 2 words. If you just do something fun on our stream and type it into our comments, we'll pull another winner out of the comments next Thursday, and then next Friday we'll do a whole bunch of copies of Letter Tycoon for winners. So it's an alchemy win. All right, and that is Letter Tycoon. I hope you all enjoyed seeing the game that Brad made. 2015 is when it came out, and now we've got the travel edition, which makes it really compact to take it around to game nights or family events. It's really fun. I had a fun time showcasing it because it's a word game that I think is really fun to get into. There's some letters that you can get powers on. There's other letters that make you feel really good if you can pull off this big purchase of a really expensive letter. So that's Letter Tycoon. And now we're going to move into free-form question and answer with our last remaining time because it's the weekend and I want to find out what you want to talk about. So someone's saying, let's keep it the game theme. So it's funny because we just did with the alchemy and win, but you can see if you can come up with another game out of those letters or whatever you want to form out of those letters. Oh, here's a topic that people want to talk about, which is Flamebound. Although we need an E from the game Letter
Oh
Tycoon in
no,
there.
that's a different game about cooking.
Yes. Oh, and we also want to talk about Whisperwood. Wow, there's so many things to talk about here. So we are making games at Cardboard Alchemy in addition to, right now it doesn't feel like we're making anything but what's behind me, because Andromeda's Edge is 100% trying to get to print fully. But we're also, of course, making Critters in the Kitchen, and then past that, we're having Dragons Go on Adventures, and then past that, we're Druids cleaning up a forest in Whisperwood. There's so many fun things to talk about as we go. I don't know what the questions are about those games, so you have to pose that in the form of a question. We also have a question. Let's see. Good cookie recipes for the cookie cutters. Rosie? Question mark.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I do have a recipe, and I will make sure that you get it.
I think Rosie will surprise us when we get to the point in the Critter Kitchen. Something fun's coming up with Critter Kitchen, which is that when we get into our next update, we are going to post recipes that were submitted by all of our backers, because some recipes are going to actually make it into the recipe card set that we sold on the Kickstarter, which is really neat, because we're going to have sort of a semi-final round where we're going to post the recipes that have made it to the semifinals or the finals, and we're going to have anyone who wants to vote on those recipes, which ones should actually get included. And we're going to post the recipes. So you can go actually try the cookie recipe or the chili recipe or whatever you want to do, and tell us, like, you could say, wow, I'm voting for this chili, it was amazing, or I just made this gumbo that was posted by somebody, and it's my vote. So that's gonna be fun. So when we do that, possibly we'll have some cookie cutter recipes to talk about too. We could
I've also already filmed the recipe when I did like the first ever. Yeah, I've already filmed it when I did the first video about it, but I waited to use it until people have the cookie cutters, because I feel like might as well wait until people can actually do it. So I do have it. So
that's going to be secretly one of my most like the thing I'm looking forward to about this year. Is going to have so many epic moments for Cardboard Alchemy, and one of them obviously is going to be Andromeda's Edge coming out. Another one is going to be Critter Kitchen coming out. But I think I'm just really excited for the flurry of cookie cutter posts. I just think that's going to be amazing, because there's if you buy the if you solve one of our puzzles, or you buy the orange cookie cutters, you get the 3 chefs, the mouse, the lizard, and the boar. But if you bought in for the cookie cutter tin, you get like a panda and you get a frog, and you get a fox, and you get a butterfly, and you get all these cool animals that you can make cookies with. I think it's going to be really fun. I have 2 Andromeda questions, so I'm going to go to Andromeda's Edge now. Is Andromeda's Edge on schedule still? Now, that is something that I'm going to have to talk about in the update. I cannot reveal that right now. I did say in our December update that we're not. I mean, it's like, spoiler, we're off by a little bit, but we're close. So what the next update is going to be is I'm going to explain what's at print, how we're going, and when I expect it to be there. And we're going to give a projection of the schedule, which is a little off, but I think that it's still going to be pretty awesome that we're jamming on this thing. And we have a really good estimate by the plant. I think we're going to be pretty close. It will be off though, so we'll have to see how much. And I appreciate everyone's patience with us. It's a big game. That is a big game. So any Andromeda info, I am going to do an update as soon as possible. One of the reasons why we're not doing the update yet is because we are like, I actually went to bed at 5 a.m. because I was talking to China, and we're trying to go back and forth in files, and we're like files making and craziness, because we don't want to miss any further. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, as soon as I can take a breath from all of the files out and all the files checked, we're doing back and forth things with the plant now to really finish all the last possible touches. So, it's so many things I want to shout out and talk about, but I have to wait till we're past this hurdle, and then I'm going to tell everybody about all the cool things that we're about to talk about. So thank you very much for everybody who is being patient on Andromeda's Edge. it is going to be, I will tell you that as we look at the game and we're rounding out all the edges and we're doing all the things to get it done, I continually get excited about the factions to play. I mean about the Kraln, the bug faction that gets to like put all of its ships together and like with a hive ability, but also reading like, oh yeah, there's this faction that does like the allied tribes, moves all the leaders, and there's we unlocked quasars, which you normally can't go in, but the leaders from allied tribes can go into the quasars. So I'm imagining all these games that we're going to get to see when everyone's got it on their tabletops that are going to do different things. The solo commanders, there's 9 different levels of solo play. And since Mark asked, and he's one of the people in our community that plays a lot of solo games, I cannot wait to see what you think of that and like all of the different adventures you're going to go on with the solo play of Andromeda's Edge. I got a question from Hungry Gamer. Hello, you made it to our stream. I'd love to have you in here. What is the next game you are looking forward to playing? This actually reminds me that I forgot about the crowdfunding shoutout that I announced at the top of the video. So if you've been watching and paying attention to the crowdfunding shoutouts, I'm remembering this because Will told me about a game that I backed yesterday because I had to back it. I had to support this game. And so my crowdfunding shoutout is actually this week is for Conquest Princess. Which is a game that actually ended yesterday, but you can still go to GameFound and you can still find it and you can still back it if you believe in games that aren't always the same thing and are diverse. This is a particular one where like the whole point is to work together as a team fashionably to defeat. It's a cooperative game where you're playing like Space Invader type. You're playing like mini games as like a cool team that gets more and more fashionable with superpowers. I mean, it's silly and crazy and wild, and I'm here for it. I'm thinking that game is going to not be your typical game. So I backed Conquest Princess by Fight in a Box. Seppi Yoon is the designer and publisher, and Hungry Gamer told me that it was amazing and said, as he's saying right here, it's fantastic and crazy hard, which also I think is a cooperative game. That's what you want. You want a game that's going to be tough to beat, right? I think that's the challenge. I don't play a lot of cooperative games, but I do enjoy that. Like if you're going to play one, it's going to be like a tough challenge. So looking forward to that one. If you want to get in on the Conquest Princess, the magical girl transformations, apparently that it's like this whole thing. The members of the team form the tiara. It's a silly space fashion game, but like that's so cool, right? It's so awesome. The other one that I was going to shout out was it's funny. I haven't looked into it too much yet, but there is Dante Inferno, which is on GameFound, which is miles apart from Conquest Princess. They feel completely different, but Dante Inferno has all those like epic minis, the kind of thing where you play against like a boss. It seems very involved. It doesn't seem like my type of game, but I know some of the people who did the modeling and the work on it, and so I just felt like I've been looking into it, going like, what are these games like? It looks pretty involved. And I know I was just watching the Dice Tower crew play it as well, and they look like they're having a blast. So it's one that I'm going to look into. I have not backed yet, but I was like one that if you know anything about either of those two games, you're welcome to shout them out in the comments, or you're welcome to tell us what you're backing, because I love to hear what everyone's backing, what everyone wants to fund. Hungry Gamer is like, to be fair, everything is thematically miles away from Conquest Princess, which is one of the reasons why I have to own it in my collection, is because it's so different, so awesome. I was going to get Wormspan, but then I remembered I had Andromeda's Edge on the way. Well, that's an interesting comparison, because you can get both. But I understand if you've got dragons coming, why do you need to get more dragons, right? Or maybe you do. I don't know. Some people need all the dragons. Andromeda's Edge does have dragons. That's one of the things we're going to talk about in the next update is our 2 dragon factions, which are really fun. What else? Did we get any other questions? Oh, well, Hungry Gamer was asking what I'm looking forward to playing, and I just did crowdfunding shout out instead. to be honest, the game that is still in my brain is Wonderland's War. I played it and I can't stop thinking about it. I can't wait to play it again. I don't know. That's definitely one. But I have got a pile of games that I need to get to. I heard that Will and Don went to a convention over the weekend and played Castles of Burgundy, the deluxe one, and I want to play that. I also got Tapestry expansion stuff that I want to play that. So I want to get into that one, and Kickstarters that are coming in.
I played Septima.
Oh, let's talk about Septima, because you played Septima.
It's huge. And then I jokingly messaged Peter and went, "Is Andromeda's Edge bigger or this?" You were like, "It's probably bigger."
So I don't know the answer. To be fair, I don't know the answer to is Andromeda's Edge bigger on the table than Septima, because I have not played Septima. I am thinking about getting it as well, so I can't wait to hear what you thought about Septima.
I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of. You can stick me on camera if you want.
Yeah.
The voice of God.
Rosie is here.
I don't have as cool a background, but there is Flamecraft.
We both have Critter Kitchen background now.
No, I really enjoyed it. The art is stunning, and really, it's kind of got a Critter Kitchen edge of that. You're picking an action or a card from your hand and then revealing at the same time, which I thought was interesting. But you kind of could cooperatively agree. Like, are you going to do this if I do this? Because if you match, then your power grows stronger.
So what's the theme? Are you witches?
You are witches in a little village, and you want to be the best witch to become the Septima because she's old and wants to retire. But the problem is that there are loads of witch hunters around who will follow you and get to you and grab you. If there's too much power, and then suspicion rises, and there's witch trials every round, and you want to try and get your crowd members in the bag, because when you draw out the people, you might win that witch, or there'll be too many angry citizens.
Gotcha.
But I do like this element of you've got this hand of actions, and then you might choose be like, should we match on this one? And then we're both going to get the boost, but suspicion will rise. So they're going to come after us, and we've got to be careful. So it's good. It's just I don't think the time on the box is correct. It says 25 minutes per person, and we're playing 3 hours.
This is a secret publisher thing. Not that you're ever trying to be wrong, but you generally round down because it sounds better. You can play fast is the thing, right? I mean, but we did on Andromeda, we put 40 minutes to player. I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. I think 25 does sound a little ambitious for that game.
I think we also were like, we've got a few hours, we'll be fine. And then setup was about like 30, 40 minutes of like all the bits and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, we need to stop because I need to eat dinner. We were just so hungry. So we had to come back. But Hungry Gamer says it's one of my 2 favorite witch games. Is the other witch game? What's the other witch game? Is it Witchcraft, the solo, or is it something else?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
I want to play Septima. That is on my list of I definitely want to play. Also, Game Trays did the trays in that one, and I heard that the trays system was really good, and that the diagram to put it all back away is really good. And so I asked my friend Don to show me the diagram, because we're trying to make the Andromeda's Edge diagram really good as well.
I got the standard, so it is all baggies.
Oh, okay. So you don't see all of the thing I'm talking about.
I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, that sounds really good." And then I opened it and went, I have the standard. Okay, right. It's all
that is why, if that's a plug for Game Trays, is why the deluxe edition is so much fun, is because it does save on that setup and teardown, because you just kind of go, here's everything ready to go. It's one of the reasons I love that stuff. It does make games, obviously pricey and whatnot. It's very hard to. I saw this thread on trays. I could almost do a top 10 trays video sometime, because I'm very passionate about trays and I have my favorites and whatnot. And then I saw this Facebook post about a tray that when you don't put any effort into it, and it's just a tray with just container sections, but there's no point to them. They don't fit the pieces at all. It's just like, why would you do that, right? So
we could make a TikTok of your top 10 board game organization.
I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. I have some, like I said, I have some favorites. Without even going into the games we've made, there's really good trays out there. And it's also funny, like, what makes a good tray, right? I will give Breaking Games a stern warning that I'm not exactly a fan of the Letter Tycoon new tray. I'm glad they put one in the box, but like these days, if you don't do push and tilt, which Noah from Game Trays made about like 10 years ago and basically gave away that trade secret, if you're not putting push and tilt in your trays right now, you're missing out because he has that he has that covered. Everyone should be doing that because it makes it easier to get cards out of a well. By putting a small plateau at the bottom of that stack, you can then give the cards a direction to move when you push on them. It's just like at this point should be standard in trays. 100%.
I got Art Society out because it's a velvet insert. You can't see it.
Ooh.
It's like a yellow velvet.
Nice.
I'm just like flock everything.
Speaking of that, by the way, someone shouted out Blood on the Clock Tower, and that has also been on my brain as well. And I want to play that game. I've been like really wanting to play more of that game, and I got the whole Blood on the Clock Tower setup, and of course, there's got all the tokens have got the velvet on there, so that they like completely don't shift when you've got them on when you're got the grimoire set up and the whole things. I can't wait to play that game in person.
It's beautiful. It's just so that you can walk around like holding it. And it
so you can have this like so like so you can be in the mood to play Septima afterwards. You can be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to. I have a question about Septima actually, which is, can you does like potion mixing and elixirs and that's one of my
so you're going around gathering ingredients, and depending on where you're standing, you can gather from around you, but you can only gather the lunar ingredients, and there's like a little dial that moves. So you're trying to put yourself in the right position to get the right ingredients. And then you can use one of your cards to be like, I am now going to brew potions. And I had this great card or spell, because part of the bigger game, there's like a bigger mode, which has spells. Let me brew more than one. And then you heal people. And then healing them raises these little tokens. And then every time you move up the 3 different types of sickness, which I think is a picture of a foot, a picture of a hand, and a picture of a head, but they're like infection, disease. I don't know what they are. But every time you move them up, you're going to get more points per level, but also more points per one. So you're trying to like build that up. So I just go hard.
I love that kind of stuff. I mean, cool. Potion brewing is one of my favorite themes. So I love that. I love it's funny, there's just like this the engine building part of it is really fun. Like so if anyone's played like the Breath of the Wild type stuff, I just loved like, I'm gonna mix this and see what the heck happens, and then I'll have this cooler sword because I did that particular herb and this particular thing. It's so great. Love that stuff.
Yeah, I think this just it's something that's like very fantastical and enjoyable. Like a lot of people just enjoy the process of like mixing things and it becomes something magical rather than, I mean, it's what people see cooking as. I don't, because I'm so bad at it. But but like I feel like there's something about like swirling liquids and healing elixirs.
I think it's just inevitable. That's a fun theme. I think Carbon Alchemy's got to go there, obviously, with the whole potion thing. By the way, I think Will says the City of Witches was the other one.
But he mentioned a couple, I think.
Okay, maybe there's a couple.
Triora, but I don't know if that was it.
That's a cool theme.
It's a very popular theme. It's very popular. I'm seeing it more and more.
Sure.
So, yeah.
There's there's a lot of fun themes. There was someone who pitched us a sci-fi, and I was like, that's probably a theme we're gonna like not do for a little while because we've just done a big one. But it's always fun to see themes come around and get like. There's always that thing that happens in Hollywood movies too, where they just kind of bunch together. All of a sudden, you'll see a whole bunch of themes of the same kind of thing happen at once.
That's true.
So
it's called Triora, City of Witches. It is one name.
That's what it is. I got you.
Very cool.
Well, those are some options. I hope everybody will chime in and tell us what they're playing this weekend. If you're playing something else besides a witch game, whatever you're playing, hope you have fun. Oh, we're talking Lorcana now. That's what Rosie's going to be playing. Look at those shiny
these
cards.
Are the giant cards, which aren't as big as the Flamecraft shops. I think they're a little bit smaller.
Yeah, look at those things.
These are just two gift giant cards, but
Oh, you got Stitch? Yeah,
these are the 2 that you get in the gift set, and I was like, okay, sure. But yeah, Stitch is really popular. Maybe
Stitch
you
is
might
one of
know
my
why
favorite
more.
characters ever.
Because you work for Disney, I always wonder, like, what is it? It's like a cult classic. It's this, I don't know what it is about Stitch.
Stitch is so great to me. I did work at Disney Feature Animation at the time, and the Chris Sanders, who's the director of that movie, put so much passion in that whole movie. The whole team did, and so I was just in love with that character the whole time. And when Villainous came out, I really think they should have put Stitch as a villain for Villainous, because it'd be great. Because I think Stitch could play both sides. I happen to really think Stitch is awesome.
Absolutely. I haven't played Villainous yet, but it's on my list.
Villainous is a lot of fun. I couldn't get my game group into it, so what happened was we opened the first Villainous, and what you do is you play an ace. So for anyone who hasn't played, you play an asymmetrical experience. So if you're playing the king from Robin Hood against Hook from Peter Pan or against Maleficent, your deck plays completely different than the other people's deck. Now, there's some common things about, like, there's allies in everybody's deck and there's treasures in everybody's deck or whatever it is. And so, for example, the whole point of the Hook deck is to get Peter Pan. That card, you have to get that card out, but you also have to have, like, you must have gotten like 3 things, and Peter Pan's got to be last or whatever it is, right? But then if you're playing like Robin Hood, that the king is just trying to get money and you want to get like a pile of money, and you might be like the first to get $10 or something like that. So you're playing and everyone is watching you try and do your thing while they're trying to do their thing. Now, my group hated it because it is like 6 games happening that are not the same. So if you have a group that says, like, well, I don't know how to do my deck, can you help me? I'm like, no, I have no idea. I can't. I'm doing my thing. I don't know what your thing is. But you also kind of have to watch other people saying, like, they're one turn away from turning into the Maleficent Dragon. I got to stop them. So you've got all this. But I'm so excited that game has turned into a much bigger. Like, there's whole sets of it. There's like Marvel versions of it now. There's all sorts of.
I love the figurines that they've made. They're really stylish, like, figurines for it. I don't know what they're called. They look like totems or something. They look really cool.
And a shout out to 2 people, since we're talking about 2 different things. So for a Lorcana shout out, I know we're talking about one of the artists that worked on Lorcana is a friend of Brad and I. Brian Kessinger, who we worked with at Disney, did Flotsam and Jetsam. I just saw on his Facebook post that he like posted the art for those cards. So he's working on some Lorcana cards, which is cool.
So this is one of them.
Yeah. So Brian's work is so awesome. Brian also has his own. If a lot of people might know Brian's work from, he's done spoofs of things. So he does like a Calvin and Hobbes spoof where he puts all the Star Wars characters into Calvin and Hobbes and does a spoof. They're like very catchy memes on the internet. Oh, that's cute.
I love that.
So Brian's great. He also did the logo for our local game store, Geeky Tees. So it was really neat because he has a famous. What his most well known for is this octopus. That he does in watercolor inks. You know, he's got Victoria and Otto, and the octopus is always doing funny things. Like, she's taking the octopus for a walk. She's got the octopus in the bath, and the octopus is playing piano, and then it's all like tea. It's tea watercolors where he's taking tea, and it's just amazing art. It's so cool. Anyway, that's one shout out. The other one was, let's see, we were just talking about Villainous, and I want to shout out my friend Scott Rogers, who Scott is a local designer in Los Angeles and designed some of the Villainous boxes. I don't know which ones he's done. He might have done the Marvel villains. I don't know which one. Scott will hopefully see this video and tell me. But he does a lot of cool IP stuff. So he did like the Aliens game, and he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. And he's kind of getting this reputation for, I can make a game off of anything, because he's that kind of like, he can think of ideas like really fast. So he got into doing Villainous games.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I got to meet an artist today. I went to the launch of Into the Inklands. So Julia River, so she's Italian, and she was there signing cards, and the queue was massive to get. Cool. I got a few cards signed. They were having trouble with gold pens. What is it about gold pens? I don't know. But it was just really cool to see all these people queuing up just to get like the cards signed. And
was that a
fun fact? They can't. Pardon?
Was that DuckTales in the center of that one?
Yeah. There's a whole load of DuckTales coming.
I
Well,
gotta
it's already
play
out now.
some. I gotta play some Lorcana, man.
So, like,
that's so good.
fun fact: you can't just put a signature. They have to put to someone, otherwise, it's worth an awful lot more money with just a signature.
Oh, because they
So
could
they've
sell
been
it
told that they
again. Yeah.
have to put to someone.
Huh.
So at the beginning, they were just signing away, and they were like, "Wait, what's happening?" I was like, "They're selling for thousands. Stop doing that." um, so, well, Hungry Gamer says, "You British do love to queue." I didn't actually queue because I was an influencer, so I think you'll find that I didn't do any queuing.
Nice.
But it was really cool. I got to play a demo with someone who's really good at it, and I felt very humbled. Let's just say that about my Lorcana skills. But it was really fun, and
Yeah.
I met Dicebreaker and everything. I love these kind of things. So
I used to play Magic the Gathering, and I played a lot of different games like that. And I love the building of the deck, right? I love that part. And then I would go to an event and I would just get destroyed. And I was like, yeah, maybe I don't actually need to play this that much. I'm like, I can't compete with all of the people who know who actually spend the time to get the exact strategy. Like, for example, if there's something that like mills a card out of your discard or something and you get the right cards, you could be I just always think that's kind of fascinating when you get to that level where you're playing where within like a card play or two if you're gonna lose or not. You're like completely in tune with like, I have to get this card, third card, otherwise it's all over. Or this is my one weakness. If this deck runs into this, I've got these 4 alternate cards to come in. It gets quite serious, obviously. People who really
I
like
just love
that.
that they've included a lot of the themes of the characters into their mechanics. So, for example,
Cool.
one of the first ones was the Mickey Wizard from, I think it's
Yeah.
Fantasia, I think.
Yeah,
He like
Fantasia. Yeah.
controls brooms. So if you have broom cards, he can move them
Oh,
around if you have him
yeah, that's
out.
neat.
Like Hey, my favorite card. He's relentless, and once you just banish him, he goes back into your hand because you just can't kill Hey in the movie.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
just feel like they're really thinking about how they would play. And currently, they've done a card that says you may have 99 puppies in your deck, even though
Oh,
you're
that's
supposed to only have
fun.
60 cards.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
have
yeah.
99 puppies. So I just think they're
That's
being really
cute.
creative with the storytelling rather than just going,
I
oh,
love
this is a
that.
normal mechanic.
I think that's like my dream kind of game to make is when people think like that thematically, the theme and the mechanisms working together. You know what I mean? There's a long time I've been playing a lot. I don't really play it anymore. I was playing a lot of Hearthstone, and Hearthstone is like it takes Magic to a whole nother level. I really love how that I've told this to the designer of Hearthstone. I think there's some innovative things that got done in that game that blew it wide open. Ever since that game, I felt like it's elevated that deck building form. But one of the things that I always was bugged about is I was like, well, you know what? I think Hearthstone is like just one theme away from being accessible to everyone. Like I just feel like it was a cool game and all, but it just was like this is what I think Disney has. This is what I think they've Ravensburgers pulled off, which is to get the magic, like to get those kind of like mechanisms, but then bring it to something that people know, which is hey in that movie and how it acts, and like that is hilarious that it keeps coming back in your deck. I think that's so much fun. Now I want to play like an all hey deck where it's like it just keeps coming and
My dream is an Alan Tudyk. So it's
yeah,
all
okay.
of the characters Alan Tudyk has voiced, but it would be an
Oh,
illegal
that's
deck
nice.
because you're only allowed 2 ink colors, but it would just be all of them. They got Wesselton, they got Weaselton. I want
Gotcha.
just because I think he plays ridiculous characters, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
you could probably have a lot of Hey, but sadly you can only have 4 of each character, or 4 of each card. So you could have 12 Hey so far, but wait and see. Who knows? Maybe we'll get more.
Yeah. Martin's got
So
a question, which is, would y'all ever make a deck builder? And I think the answer is definitely yes. We would love to make a deck builder. It's definitely a category I love. In fact, Whisperwood, which is a sort of our answer to that, we're making a bag builder. So what's fascinating about a bag builder is that it's similar, but you've got some choices. In a deck builder sense, you go through every card before you reshuffle, and that finite amount. Sometimes that's your life. Sometimes it's interesting what you do with that deck. In a bag, you have choices about whether or not you're going to always let the bag like basically never empty it and stuff just keeps coming in, and then you're looking for the percentage chance of getting it out like Quack's Equilenberg, or if you're going for one where the bag does have to completely empty. So currently the way that Brad, Chris Strain, and Aaron McDonald are the 3 designers on Whisperwood, and they're working on Whisperwood. You have to completely empty the bag. So you will see everything come out before it goes back in. So it seems a lot like a deck builder in that sense, because if I go draft, this one type of animal, it's going to come out. I'm going to see that animal come out. So then you're looking at one of my favorite parts about deck builders is the ability to trash, or in say Dominion, to what's the cellar? No, there's a card where you're deliberately like thinning the deck. I love to get really tight with a specific card. So for example, if you put a really cool card combo in a deck builder, sometimes it's watered down and it never comes out right. But if you distill the deck into just that card combo, it could be amazing to watch. I play this app actually called look at it, it's Dreamscape. It is the ugliest. I'm sorry to the people in Dreamscape. The ugliest, best app that has ever existed. StreamQuest. I don't think the guy who made Hearthstone is the guy who made it, and I don't think he's going to be offended because it's stick figures and it's deliberately just. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be like a work of art per se, but it's an amazing deck builder. And so one of the things that's interesting is if you call there's this one, there's these couple of characters that you can play where you're fighting monsters, and the monsters have their own decks. And there's this one class, which is a sorcerer, which actually gets to take cards out of a monster's deck, which then opens your deck building up to unbelievable possibilities because you normally don't ever get to draft those cards. So I love playing that character because what I'll do is I'll get a monster card that's particularly weird, and I'll call everything down to just that card coming up, and it does like crazy stuff in that game. Anyway, I love deck builders. So the answer is 100% we're going to have to make a deck builder.
I like them too. I really like Living Forest is a great one for me because you're
Living Forest. Don't know that one.
It's got the deck building aspect. It's got push your luck because you'll draw from that deck, and then if you draw too many unsociable animals, then you have to stop, and then you spend the resources that are on those cards to do actions. So I really like it's got a lot of different mechanics I like, but I enjoy the process of, do I buy more cards that are solitary because they've got really good resources, but they're going to possibly make it very hard for me to get enough cards out. So I love it.
Such an interesting part about those games is your consequences. Like you buy too much. If you're playing Dominion and you buy the victory point cards too soon, they clog the whole thing up, and then you watch your deck, which was efficient at one moment, turn into mush. Like I can't get anything done with this deck. So fun. Oh, that's such a good topic. I love deck building.
As we can see from the comments.
Yeah. Oh my God, there was a deck building game that was made right after Dominion. It was like Arctic something. It was a winter theme. One of the things I really loved about it was you had 2 different ways to build your deck. One was you were building to buy stuff, to buy equipment for the Arctic, and then the other one was you're building whatever cards you didn't use were combat for like a round of combat, which is not my favorite, but it was interesting to decide what cards were being saved for 2 different phases of the deck building. So that was cool to me.
That's cool.
I
think I just really enjoy the process of building something and then seeing that solution.
If it works, right?
And that's what I think a lot of people enjoy that in any board game where you plan something and it works, even if it was like immediate. So something about the build up to that is just really fun. Oh, Arctic Scavengers, is it that?
Arctic Scavengers, that's what it was. I thought that was a really interesting take on deck building. Of course, I've also shouted out Tate Wu's game, Art Deco. It's really interesting deck building because you have colors of paintings in your hand, and the value of all the paintings is worth like 1. So it's like a 1. So like if you start with a hand of like 2 reds, 2 blues, and a purple, you've got $5 to spend, right? But if somebody puts a red painting in an art show, then it raises the reds to 2. So all of a sudden, every red in your hand is actually worth 2, and then you want to get the red to go. But of course, if you spend the red to put it in an art show, you lose the red card. So it's like you're hoping that everyone else puts the reds in an art show, but that you have the remaining reds, which are always good. But if you're stuck with them at the end of the game, then they don't you don't score off of them. So like you have to like figure out when's the time to get out of a certain color. So it's really fun. Oh my gosh, that deck building is great. Let's see. Axel says you should check out the new deck builder that Thundergriff is making. Ooh, great art and mechanics. That's what we're talking about.
I feel like I always know what Thundergriff are doing, and my brain just can't draw the name up. Like it's such a great company name that I'm like, surely I know what Thundergriff are doing.
Thundergriff is the designers of Darwin's Journey.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Darwin's Journey that's on my list of want to play. In fact, when we were talking about what games you want to play, Darwin's Journey sits there in the like Septima, like a big game. You're like, oh, I want to dig into this game. I want to call some friends up that want like a long game. Let's do this because I got a taste of that game with Axel on our Discord. We were playing. He taught me that game digitally. It was a lot of fun because it's one of those games you can do like tons of different things, tons of different ways to win. I want to play that one again.
And there were 2 Darwin games about the same time. One was lighter and one was heavier. And I always got confused between the two. It was like the one's Darwin's Journey, the one's called Darwin's something else, and it's very animal based and there's like animals in it. But it's just like, why they always come out at the same time? I don't remember.
It's interesting that Martin says deck builders are sequential and bag builders are random. That's interesting about the randomness. So one of the things that like in Whisperwood we're thinking about is if you've ever played Orleans, it's a bag builder where you actually can leave pieces on your board. And when you leave pieces on your board, you're choosing which pieces are going to get left out of the bag. So it's a lot less random than you would think because you can actually engineer exactly what's going to come out.
Surely if you shuffle the deck before using it, it's just as random as pulling it from a bag though.
Yeah, that's what I was also going to say. That same point is that, yeah, you are in fact, well, I mean, so like if you have a certain number of hey-hays in your deck, used to be when I was building Magic decks, you'd put like 30% land. Okay. So you shuffle that thing, the land can all come up at the front. I mean, it can, and you'll be like, I should put 20% land. I shouldn't put 30% land. I should put 20% land because this is too much land. And then you put 20% and then you never draw it ever again. And you're like, oh my God. So yes, RNG is a factor in deck builders. I think Martin's probably right. I think bag building. Well, if you have a bag where nothing ever comes out of it, like the Quacks bag, right? Quacks does not empty, right?
You're not meant to remember. It's trying to make you forget what you put in there. So you're like, what did I put in there? Yeah.
If you like the Wonderlands War bag is also, you don't pull, it doesn't empty. So what ends up happening then is that sure, you could put a blue token in your Quacks bag and never pull it just because every round you're like, nope, that's not the one. Nope, that's not the one. So there is a certain level of randomness with that, right? You're going for push your luck. Like that is a more luck-based version.
Yeah.
Then there's ones where you never even like, God, a really fascinating one is Lost Ruins of Arnak, right? Because it's deceptive. You think you're going to control this deck, and then sometimes, it's really hard to maneuver that deck, right? Because you're playing and you only have so many actions, and it's really deceptive that you're going to see all your cards because you might buy too much, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm never going to see that stuff.
Yeah, I hate it when I'm like, I'm sure I've made this the perfect, and then you just like, I never saw that again. That's so annoying. I have one amazing Dragon Lorcana card that literally, if it comes out, I'm like, this is amazing because the percentage chance that 1 in 60 cards is going to come out is amazing.
Really enjoy how they made the mechanics fit into the theme. Fort. So what's the Lorcana card that you were talking about? That's
it's a Madam Mim dragon.
Oh, I love Madam Mim from Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, and she's like a big dragon, but she banishes 2 of your characters to come out. So you've got to have out some weak characters you're happy to get rid of.
Yes.
She's a beast. She can just destroy. It's amazing. Doug looks at me like, why is she in there? I'm like, for this reason. That's why she's in there, Doug. To destroy you.
Well, back to Martin's point, once you've shuffled the deck, then they are in fact you are counting on this is coming up. Like I know
that is
what
true.
I've seen, what I haven't seen yet. So yeah, it does depend, what you're looking for.
I think I'm thinking of games like Paperback and Living Forest, where you're constantly shuffling every time, and so you do have a rough idea of what's coming out, but there's a lot more shuffling.
Yeah, Paperback, that's a good one.
I love Paperback. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Doug's really good at spelling because he works with words. I mean, I do now, but before I didn't. And he would just destroy me, and I was just like, I must win this game. We would just play it over and over until I won, because I just got so frustrated that he would just spell these amazing words, and I'd be like, bum.
Yeah. That is one of the reasons why, because I think I told the story about how Paperback came out just before Letter Tycoon. Actually, if I didn't say that at the time, Brad refused to play Paperback until Letter Tycoon was done and published, because he didn't want to see another one and get influenced and like second guess how he was making Letter Tycoon. But as soon as he finished Letter Tycoon, we put Paperback on the table and we were like, oh, this is so cool. Also, we like really like both games, but that one, because you can get powers, like I think that was like in Letter Tycoon, there's only 7 letters with a power. In Paperback, it feels like everything's got a power, which is fun also, right? I think that's like part of the charm of it, is like, well, the boring letters are kind of like, I mean, it's funny how Paperback twists it where you need the bread and butter as much as you need the powers. Like you need to have both kind of things happening in the deck.
Yeah, and the solo mode's really good because you're trying to work through a pyramid of them. So you're trying to earn those, you're trying to earn those like front covers, aren't you, to get the points?
Yeah.
Sure. And so you're working through this pyramid. It's really hard to break it with buying those words and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the first game I ever sleeved. Was that because of the amount of shuffling involved. It's now been de-sleeved for Everdell, because Everdell has consumed all of my sleeves.
We've put puns in our games, and I think the pun in that game is so good. The fact that the hero is Paige Turner, I think that's so fun. Yeah, they did Paperback, such a great game. Did a great job.
I think he's probably behind me with the hardback, which he then sort of reimagined his game simpler. Tim Fowers loves spelling games, I can tell.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Themes.
He's basically
now made a whole solo series, hasn't he? Around
I think he's into 2 themes, which is spelling and heists. Right? Kind of
and asymmetric heists.
Yeah.
I love it. I got to meet him at Essen. He's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah. He used to be in the Los Angeles design scene. That moved, because when you're a board game publisher and you live in Los Angeles, you realize how expensive Los Angeles is, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. But yeah, used to game with Tim all the time.
Oh,
so good stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, we have now talked about games for a while, which is awesome. And now I hope everyone goes and plays some more games. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week for the beginning of March. We will do something different than Letter Tycoon. I will be about to be going to Gamma. It will be an exciting time for Carbon Alchemy. We should be Andromeda's Edge out the door and Critter Kitchen as our next focus. So we'll see you then. Until then, have fun. Game on.
Bye.
And cheers.